Let us look at extraordinary words. Because we are teaching 2 sessions every day, this might be a bit tiring, but perhaps in the first half of the year or during the summer, we teach a bit more. At other times, it is not as much. So sometimes, just like how Africans eat, they try to eat as much as possible. When there's nothing, they endure. When there is, they try to receive as much as possible. Today, in Extraordinary Words, we will discuss the perfect time among the 5 perfect conditions. When we have the perfect place, perfect teacher, perfect retinue, and perfect Dharma, that is when we have the perfect time. For any of the 5 perfect conditions, whether the Buddha is teaching the Dharma or great masters are teaching the Dharma, all of these, the place, the teacher, the retinue, and the Dharma, these 4 perfect conditions must exist at a certain time. This is called the perfect time. Of course, when we discuss the 5 perfect conditions of the Sambhogakaya Pure Lands, time is the infinite wheel of adornment, a different way of explaining it. But in our ordinary world, when these 4 conditions are complete, it is called the perfect time. His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche, because some of his teachings at that time were recorded, I looked at the transcripts from a relatively early period. Especially at this time, if you think carefully, just as I once wrote in some teachings when I was 27 years old, in some of those teachings when he was 27 years old, at that time His Holiness had a kind of prophecy about the future, a kind of prediction about his own life. At that time, in that text, it said, "When summer clouds gather thick, clarity comes gradually, not instantly. The wise one is freed from the shell of doubt." On the surface, this seems to mean that when summer clouds gather thick, gradually it will become clear. It doesn't happen all at once. Through this metaphor, we understand that a person with wisdom will be freed from the shell of doubt. From this shell, they will gradually be freed from the shell of doubt. That is the surface meaning. But the deeper meaning here, he explained it this way: in this Larung Valley, I have been rectifying Buddhism for 13 years. Perhaps His Holiness basically, whether Buddhism was officially allowed, even before Buddhism was officially allowed, when he established the Buddhist Academy, he began rectifying Buddhism. Why rectify? Everyone knows. At that time, Tibetan Buddhism, especially during the Cultural Revolution, basically all the monasteries had been destroyed. Basically all the monastics had returned to lay life. Then later, when the policies were slightly restored, basically the monasteries were in unimaginable condition. Everything was in ruins. As for the monastics, basically they had no tantric vows, no Pratimoksha vows. It was extremely chaotic. At that time, you probably all know. You could say that afterward everything was in complete disarray, but His Holiness indeed, after establishing the Buddhist Academy, probably after 2 or 3 years, he continuously rectified Buddhism. Regarding the rectification of Buddhism, you probably also know, at that time, His Holiness sent everyone an official letter. It mainly stated that if someone is a lay person, lay people should have lay vows and so on. If someone is a monastic, they should at least be shramaneras or shramanerikas, or have the vows of bhikshus and bhikshunis or higher. So the monastics in the monasteries were reorganized and cleaned up. Especially at that time, there were many who had broken tantric samayas, for example, those who had conflicts with their Vajra gurus and so on. These people were uniformly not allowed to participate in tantric empowerments or any activities. That was the rectification. Rectifying Buddhism is like when the sky is overcast. It doesn't clear up instantly. Rather, it gradually becomes clear and bright. Similarly, Buddhism has been diligently rectified for 13 years. It's hard to say it has become completely pure, but it has definitely reached the level it was at before the democratic reforms. This means that in the 1950s and 1960s, the entire Buddhism of Tibetan region suffered unprecedented destruction. His Holiness said that after 13 years of effort, he wouldn't dare to say that all the monasteries are pure inside and out. But basically, compared to before, like the monasteries in Tibetan region used to be, they are now relatively pure. Some of you may not be clear about this. Indeed, His Holiness back then if he hadn't initiated such a proposal. Indeed, perhaps up until now, the entire Buddhism afterward would still be quite chaotic. Now, people often say we need to rectify the chaos in Buddhism, but what is now called chaos may not really be chaos. Having a few Buddha statues, having a few stupas, or having prayer flags. Some call these chaos. There is that too, but regardless, at that time it was truly chaos within chaos. But His Holiness basically rectified all of these. So now basically we have reached the level it was at before. His Holiness said, "As for me, I have rectified for 13 years. From now on, the heavy responsibility of rectifying Buddhism falls on your shoulders." His Holiness spoke thus to his disciples who were present. So regarding the perfect time, generally speaking, it has been 15 years since Larung Buddhist University was established. I calculated it. It should be 1995, because from the beginning of our Buddhist Academy, it seems if it's a university has many colleges. For example, a university has a journalism college, a technical college, and many colleges for sciences and humanities. So in this place, since it is equivalent to a Buddhist university, it has been about 15 years since its establishment. His Holiness in 1995, at the beginning of that year, held the Vidyadhara Assembly. We call it the 95 Vidyadhara Pills, that one. Then after that he went to Singapore. When he returned, he began teaching. Later, in the autumn, he manifested illness. He stayed in Chengdu for many months that year. I don't know when this was taught. In any case, that year His Holiness said, "Now our academy has been established for 15 years. For us now it has already been 42 years. If we count from this year, from 1980 to 2022, it should be 42 years. His Holiness's teaching here should have been given in 1995. Specifically speaking, this is now the period of complete flourishing. However, this is still not enough. In Bodhivajra's prophecy, it says, his activities to benefit beings stand magnificently between heaven and earth. Pure disciples pervade the 10 directions. All who form a connection will be born in the pure land of great bliss." This is what Bodhivajra's later prophecy says. His Holiness's activities to benefit beings stand magnificently between heaven and earth. Indeed, there are so many great masters. Of course, they all have different activities, all very remarkable. But perhaps during this period of time, we can clearly, without any exaggeration, say he was a great figure of his era. We can say this, that his activities stand magnificently between heaven and earth. This is not an exaggeration at all, because we are his lineage disciples. Saying this might seem like empty praise. Especially now, everyone would particularly agree that his pure disciples pervade the 10 directions. This is also true. Indeed, I, in these past years, the previous years, about 10 years, went to many, many different countries. In the process of going, it seems those who have faith in His Holiness, who have received teachings, are particularly numerous. Even those who didn't receive directly, those who received His Holiness's lineage also feel very proud. So nowadays, in whether the 5 continents or the entire world, we can say that pure disciples pervade the 10 directions. Moreover, they all particularly emphasize theoretical explanation and the application of practice. Everyone is quite distinctive. Perhaps what we ourselves say may not be accepted, but regardless, all of us should be clear about this. So in Bodhivajra's prophecy, there is also the last one we often mention. All who form a connection with His Holiness will be reborn in the Pure Land. This is something everyone should be very familiar with. So in this verse, not only this can also be counted as part of the perfect time, his entire activities, his retinue, including those who form a connection being reborn in the Pure Land, actually his perfect time, even though His Holiness's form body has dissolved into the Dharma Dhatu, but his activities and his retinue, his Dharma, all of these qualities are complete. I think we can now also say that within his perfect time, all of the above conditions have been met. Now we have reached the peak period. Perhaps in 1995 it was not yet a particularly large time, including our main temple, which was rather dilapidated. Comparatively speaking, now perhaps can also be considered a peak period. At that time, the teachers in our Vajra demon subduing division and so on perhaps were not that many. Regardless, now perhaps it's possible. Everything is subject to change. Perhaps we now can also be said to be in a peak period. This is a great opportunity when all favorable conditions are complete and adverse conditions are distant. This is called the perfect time. Therefore, all you disciples do not waste even a single day. You should study and contemplate tirelessly. This is my hope. If His Holiness were personally present, he would probably also say these things. Let us now discuss chapter 2 below. It is mainly about pleasing the teacher through devotion. In the first section of Pleasing the Teacher Through Devotion, it is mainly a chapter on praying to Guru Padmasambhava. This snowy land of Tibetan region, so difficult to tame, yet possesses the Buddha Dharma, including the Tantras. The sole source of this is the kindness of Guru Padmasambhava. This Tibetan region of ours was formerly a land of savage Rakshasas, a very fierce place. But later, after the Dharma came, Tibetan region became a place that attracts worldwide attention, a place everyone particularly longs for. Recently, all kinds of people come here just to take a look. What is the reason? It should be the power of the Dharma. Otherwise, this valley is nothing special to see. These dilapidated houses of ours are nothing to see either, wooden plank houses. In the future, we should replace all the roofs, from this year to next year. Our roofs are quite unsightly. Some have bricks, stones, yak dung, all kinds of things placed there. From below it looks a bit better. But looking down from above, it is indeed quite unsightly. Actually, we are all human beings. When people live somewhere, at least one's own house, I see some of the nuns' area here. Behind the houses there are various tattered cloths wrapped around, cloths covering things. If a fire breaks out, this is very dangerous. It will be best if each of you, the wooden houses cannot be changed for now, but the flammable materials around them, these should all be cleaned up. Otherwise, really, if a fire breaks out, you yourself will become a tsok offering or food for fire puja. You would turn yourself into a flame. Wouldn't that be rather bad? So I see that here we only have the Dharma. Everything else, you could say we have nothing. The other day there was a short video clip. Someone asked a person, "Have you been to Larung?" He said, "I've been to Larung." He answered while eating noodles and playing with his phone. Then they asked, "When you went there, Larung is a pure place. Wouldn't you disturb them?" "Oh, I wouldn't disturb them. They have phones, do ye, in short videos. They have everything. Just go, it's nothing. You won't disturb them." So I think here we too, if we don't confiscate the phones really, in the eyes of others, it seems we are no different from worldly cities. But in our hearts or our Dharma, there is a little bit of difference. We are not completely identical to those people. The kindness of the Dharma, of Guru Padmasambhava, all the people of the snowy land should, with unwavering respectful faith, single-mindedly and sincerely pray to Guru Padmasambhava. This ensures that both Dharma and worldly affairs will not decline. It was so in the past, and it will be so in the future. If all of us in the entire world pray to Guru Padmasambhava from personal obstacles and decline, all will be dispelled. The decline of the entire Dharma and worldly affairs will also be dispelled. Moreover, in the Vajrayana Buddhism, it is also praised many times that most of the great Dharma-holding masters in Tibetan region are solely emanations of the second Buddha, Guru Padmasambhava. Second Buddha is something we often say. For example, in the past, Xuanzang was also called the second Buddha, and some also say this of Master Zhizhe. Also, Vasubandhu was called the second Buddha. They are emanations of the second Buddha, Guru Padmasambhava. For example, Gampopa of the Kagyu lineage, the author of A Precious Garland of the Supreme Path, the great disciple of Milarepa. From him, the Kagyu lineage began. Before that, there were Milarepa and Marpa Lotsawa, but they had not formed a true school. and the Manjushri protector of the Sakya lineage, Sakya Pandita Kunga Gyaltsen, and of the Gelug lineage, Je Tsongkhapa Lobsang Drakpa, and the great Siddha Karma Pakshi. Karma Pakshi should be the second Karmapa. In their respective biographies, they are all emanations of Guru Padmasambhava. Some schools nowadays seem to regard these, what their own school praises, sometimes out of sectarian jealousy they don't really acknowledge, but actually the great masters of their own schools all praise them as emanations of Guru Padmasambhava. So in our Tibetan region, whether it is Sakya, Gelug, Jonang or Kagyu, the great masters of these various schools can all be said to be emanations of Guru Padmasambhava. However, some beings with little merit worship the one-horned demon as their yidam and committed many misdeeds. This leads to what? Tibetan region's time of suffering. At one time in Tibetan region, there was frequent slander of Guru Padmasambhava. Statues of Guru Padmasambhava were thrown into the Yarlung Tsangpo River. Throughout history, we can see that many very unpleasant phenomena have occurred. Because of such reasons, later, various kinds of disasters also resulted. Those beings who repay kindness with enmity and act perversely, treating Guru Padmasambhava as an enemy, while instead worshipping evil spirits and vengeful ghosts as their yidams, this caused both Dharma and worldly affairs to severely decline. So generally speaking, the sole karmically connected guru of the entire snowy land is the second Buddha, Guru Padmasambhava. Actually, even now, most of the recognized great masters, regardless of what school you belong to, because at that time, if Guru Padmasambhava had not subdued the outer demons, had not transformed Tibetan region into such a sacred land, the Dharma would have had no way to be established and flourish in such a place. So for those who understand kindness, as we say, when drinking water, think of its source. Such people will definitely know it is Guru Rinpoche's blessings and Guru Rinpoche's qualities, Guru Rinpoche's kindness, especially for practitioners of the early translation Nyingma school of secret mantra. They have even more faith in Guru Padmasambhava, who surpasses all. And they become special, uncommon disciples of Dzogchen. Therefore, they are beings of extremely excellent fortune. We can say they are beings of extremely excellent fortune. If we have faith in Guru Rinpoche, this connection is truly excellent. Below, His Holiness often quoted this teaching from Mipham Rinpoche. When I first came, we didn't quite understand why His Holiness had such special faith in Guru Rinpoche, but later, after many years of study, after experiencing various things, and after seeing various things about both Dharma and worldly matters, I came to understand. Just as Mipham Rinpoche said, we are very fortunate. The following verse, I hope everyone should write it down. Mipham Rinpoche, in one of his songs of joy, in his collected works. This is the meaning. The Guru, who is the essence of the Tathagatas of the three Kayas, our Guru Padmasambhava, is the embodiment of all the Tathagatas of the three Kayas. Merely recalling your name, blessings rain down. If we often pray, that goes without saying, but merely recalling the name of Guru Padmasambhava causes an abundance of blessing rain to fall. The Vidyadhara Guru, whose kindness to Tibetan region is incomparable, that is, for the entire land of Tibetan region, actually, if we look at the long term, the Dharma of Tibetan region benefits all places. Just as in India, at that time, many Indian scholars considered the 2 supreme ones and 6 ornaments of India to be their great benefactors. But later we see that the benefit to all sentient beings is immense. So at that time, the Vidyadhara Guru, whose kindness to Tibetan region is incomparable, is called Dzogchen Dorje, the lake-born Vajra. He can also be called Dzogchen Dorje, lake-born Vajra, his lotus feet, like a wish-fulfilling jewel, to be able to visualize them on the crown of one's head, this excellent fortune. Thinking of those with broken connection, those few without faith, he says here, to the incomparable Guru Padmasambhava Tsokye Dorje at his wish-fulfilling jewel-like lotus feet, we have the opportunity to prostrate, we have the opportunity to visualize. That is, Guru Padmasambhava, we have the fortune to visualize him, we have this excellent connection. If we think of those whose connection has been broken, those few individuals without faith by comparison, wow, we are truly very fortunate, he says here. We know there are so many people in the world now, but many people, not just a few, most people have no faith in the Dharma, no faith in Guru Rinpoche. Compared to these people, in the object worthy of faith, to have obtained devoted faith, in the place where we should generate faith, we have obtained faith. Some people have faith in what is not worthy of faith. For example, fake gurus, fake teachings, forged scriptures. If these are treated as objects of faith, they are not worthy of faith. Guru Padmasambhava, if you generate faith in him, he is worthy of faith. And to generate faith in what is worthy of faith, this attainment, generally speaking, cannot be bought with money. So I am very joyful. The meaning of this verse by Mipham Rinpoche, everyone should remember it. His Holiness often quoted it in class. But when quoting, when we did simultaneous translation at that time, the general meaning was not very complete. This time, as long as there is text, everything has been translated for everyone. Although these verses are quite long and not easy to translate in Tibetan either, the meaning should be clear to everyone. So regarding this passage, indeed, we who are present here too, if in this life we have faith in Guru Padmasambhava, his power, his blessings, his wisdom, they are truly inconceivable. This is something those of us who have studied Dzogchen all know. It's not that because he is our patriarch that we praise him. It's not like that. The heart essence of Dzogchen that he left behind, whether it is the Longchen Nyingthig, the Vima Nyingthig, or the Kandro Nyingthig, when we practice and come to understand the essence of all these heart teachings, we come to know, wow, Guru Padmasambhava is truly extraordinary. And each of us, often for example by reciting the 7-line prayer, or by reciting the Guru Rinpoche mantra, we pray in various ways. The photograph mentioned earlier, it was originally at Mount Wutai, but now it is in retreat. So many people cannot see it anymore. At that time, when we went on pilgrimage to Mount Wutai, this was still visible from the outside, but now it seems this statue has always been. Perhaps many people cannot see it anymore. There are various reasons for this. There is sectarian jealousy, and there are other various aspects, because for many people, if Tibetan Buddhism flourishes greatly, on one hand, evil spirits and demons become particularly angry. Also, some from different schools. Even though we are Buddhists, sometimes Buddhists are very complicated. Everyone knows, on the surface we are all Buddhists, but in reality Buddhists also have various schools and various traditions. Actually, in a certain sense, these traditions can be even more attached to various things than non-Buddhists. So this statue of Guru Padmasambhava actually, temporarily, you may not necessarily, even if you go to Mount Wutai, you may not see it. But it doesn't matter. Our statue of Guru Rinpoche, now everyone can carry it on their body, wear it on their head, or keep it inside their clothes or on a bookshelf. If nothing else works, you can put it on your computer. As long as you have faith, the statue of Guru Padmasambhava can always be with you. But I hope those of us present here will also not generate wrong views. You should properly read the biographies of Guru Rinpoche, or pray to Guru Rinpoche regularly. When we wake up in the morning, when we go to sleep at night. I have also said before, there are some various gurus that are hard to explain. But if you want to make some kind of badge or pendant to wear on your body, it's best to have images of Guru Padmasambhava and Shakyamuni Buddha. This is completely faith in what is worthy of faith. This is faith that should be generated toward them. If we wear an image of a fake guru for a lifetime, and finally, when the truth is exposed, there is no meaning in regretting. So regarding Guru Padmasambhava, everyone must in the future even more. This is what His Holiness said, not what I said. Regarding the text above, we did not add anything, not even one sometimes content words. In my translation process, I generally don't add content words. Some function words when necessary, I add. Generally, if translation is to be strict, if I add many content words, that is not the original, that is not translation, that is called compilation, so that is not good. So these are all His Holiness's Vajra words, the original words. For us practitioners of the early translation school of secret mantra, with such excellent fortune, I often say this. Perhaps one's own guru and school are like this. To have encountered this oneself is very good. There is practice, there is theory. Everything one needs in all aspects is there, although there are some special days for accumulating merit and purifying obscurations, but most importantly, never forget Guru Rinpoche's special day, the 10th day of each month. On the 10th, we usually recite the Guru Rinpoche Chok, composed by Mifam Rinpoche. This is also very good. In the later chapters, there will also be discussion of the 10th day of the Guru. I remember it seems to be in section 77. There, the merits of the 10th day of the monkey month are also discussed. How His Holiness spent his life, these will be discussed. In the future, on the 10th day, if we have a collective opportunity for Tsok offering, doing a short Guru Rinpoche Tsok is also very important. If you really don't have time, do a brief Tsok by yourself praying to Guru Padmasambhava, because Guru Padmasambhava promised that on the 10th day he pervades the entire world to bestow blessings, especially blessing sentient beings. This is also an inconceivable interdependence in the conventional world. Everyone should also pay attention to this. All right, today we will stop here.
Larung Gar Badna Sodargye Larung Gar Badna Sodargye Larung Gar Badna Sodargye